So the first thing we want to do is to apply a flash color to the skin area of this Trugg, and we will use the Marksman Glow as the base skin color. Just put a thin layer of Marksman Glow into every corner of the skin area. And then we will apply some Lemon Flash contrast into the hands, palm area, and also the feet area to give a more darker color compared to the rest of the skin. And next we will put dried bark brown color on this trunk. We will use this one, so give this more of darker trunk, a dead trunk. Later we will give more highlight. We will use Corvus Black to color the beard area. Give this more darker color. Now we're gonna jump to apply texture on the bases, and for this I'm using scale 75 Soilworks, the dry soil. This is a very liquid texture which after this should dry up and create a cracking ground. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put some dry brush into this debris and stone area, and then we're gonna put contrast layer. Later we're gonna put some contrast, so the contrast will flow and give a more starking texture between the light and darker area. So now we are using Basilicanum Gray contrast to cover all of the rocky area on the bottom of the pedestal. Just gonna let it flow, and then we're gonna put some extra highlight a bit later. Yellowish brown, and a little bit light, so it's similar to like a desert atmosphere. Give that desert impression. And then for the vines area we will use Castellan Green, and we're gonna make some seamless transition between dried bark and Castellan Green between the largest vines and the root and the edge of the vines. And as usual we will use red bone bases to color all the skull. So for the tip of the weapon, it is made like from a snail shell, and I'm gonna color it with a yellow brownish color, the desert yellow from the army painter. This is to give that yellowish shell color, so it could have more impression of a dry desert looks. Mm. So next we will apply quarter brown for the antler area, which should give a more of a light brown color, more likely of a tint because of it like this, compared to other color like wildwood or dried bark. Then I will use venom worm from the army painter to color the dangling moss coming from the antlers and also the bodies. It's a little bit more of a light green, have a very high saturated color, so we have to give this another darker layer later. So for the dangling cloth on the head area, we will use doom bowl brown, this brown color but more a bit reddish. So this is our current work in progress for Trugg. As you can see, we've already covered most of the area with the base color, the Bucksman glow for the skin, and also Corvus Black for the beard. We've already done several smooth transition, especially on the blackened area, on the shoulder and the chest. Later we maybe have to add another smoother seamless transition, and also we'll do some our other detail works, especially on the smaller item accessories, and also highlight. So in addition, we've already done the base, and I'm using this more like a Kraken barren terrain. There's also been colored using agarus stone, so it's have a more of brown yellowish color. So let's continue on. Then I will use Tesseract Glow Technical to give glowing color into the tattoo on the tattoo on the skin. I'm gonna start layering the skin of Trugg, and for this I'm gonna start it from the belly area. We want something more of a lighter color, and for this we will use a combination 50% of Bucksman Glow and 50% of Carian Fleshstone. This should tone down the reddish color of the Bucksman Glow, give it a more of a fleshy looks. Now I'm gonna use palette rich flash to give that white color into the small bumps all around the bodies. There are a lot of small bumps. Just gonna color some of it. Just a little bit thick. Then I will put a secondary layer using combination of corpse pale and Cadian fleshstone. This will give a more lighter color. Layer it in top of the previous layer consisting of Buxman Glow and Cadian fleshstone. So I'm using Venom Worm from the Army Painter to color the dangling vines, and I also add some Lamian Medium to give a layer into the antler area. This will give like some gradation color between the antler and the vines. So now I'm using word bearer thread, thin it down using Lamian medium to create a small gliss, and this should run very in harmony with the color of the Doompearl brown. Next, I'm using pen plate brown, thin it down using lamine medium. A lot of thin down, maybe around with 1:1 ratio, and this should give an extra highlight into the cloth on the bottom area. I'm just gonna use Moonfang brown with a lot of water to create another grace on the pen blade brown. So we will turn this into its original darker. So then for the next part, I'm gonna give more shadow to a more enclosed area and deep recess. And for this, we're gonna use non-oil. Non-oil is mostly is transparent, so you can just wash it freely into all of the surface area. And we're gonna use paler brown for this one.